From the DDS studios, we are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and from the man cave, it's Matthew Two-Tone Blue Parker. Parker, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Good to be back. Good to be in the man cave with the pure, beautiful audio. Good to hear you guys. Let's do it.
Absolutely, guys. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Recording this here on a Thursday night, our weekly show. We're going to get into our college football pick six and our NFL football pick six tonight, as well as, are they the Cincinnati Bengals or the Bungles, Newberry?
We'll discuss. I'll say that we warned you in our AFC North prediction show. I don't know that we thought they would start 0-2. But that's what they are.
Yeah.
They're 0-2, and it starts with pretty bad quarterback play. What are you seeing from Joe Burrow?
Before we get into that, guys, go ahead down below, hit that like and subscribe button for us on YouTube. Give us a follow and a rumble on Rumble. Follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can catch all the audio versions of these podcasts on the go on your favorite podcasting platform. All right.
Let's talk about Burrow. I mean, that's the
brass tacks time.
He's supposed to be MVP candidate after appearing in the Super Bowl. What has he done for the Bengals lately?
Not very much. Let's see here. We're going to throw some stats up. You know, we like stats here on this show. So let's look here at sportsreference.com here.
Okay. Pro Football Reference.
Yeah, whatever. Guys, these are not good numbers. Particularly this number right here. 13 sacks. Clearly this offensive line is absolutely atrocious. Now we come over, and it's apparently not only the sack numbers, it's also interceptions. Joe Burrow has shown, these interceptions were not like hurried or anything like that. These interceptions were thrown whenever he was in a clean pocket for the most part. Regression. Parker's been talking about it all year. And he said they're going to come back to earth, and the stats, that's what they bear right now, is that I think the NFL has made the adjustments. I think the Bengals players themselves have even mentioned that, look, they know what's coming. We got to mix things up. We had been mentioning in our preseason shows, prediction shows, that this offensive line was going to be a problem.
Just because it's new, you got a bunch of new old guys, doesn't mean it was going to ever be good.
No, the problem is it's not even a little bit good. That's my issue. Is what I'm looking at is, if it were not for Joe Burrow's pretty good athleticism, I think that sack number of 13 would be way higher. Parker, what you got on
Parker,
this?
preach.
Yeah, let's see. There's a quarterback that got broken from sacks, and that was a Houston Texans quarterback named David Carr back in the day. If y'all remember that initial year for the Texans, he just got brutally just hammered back there. The quarterback to take more than 10 sacks through the first two games before Burrow was David Carr. There's been nobody in between. That is it. And you're right, Burrow has taken a step back. Last year, he's one of the best deep ball throwers, one of the most accurate in the league. This year, he's in the bottom two. He's throwing 7.9% downfield with one completion for 22 yards and one interception. They brought in Collins from Dallas to be the big-time guy there, right? So far through PFF, he's got a 27 pass grade, y'all. I don't know if you just realize how bad that is, but that's like Dennis Daly bad for the Titans backup. I don't even know who he is, and this guy's an all-pro. So, yeah, I think they're the Bengals or the Bungles. Are they Bungles? They're kind of in between. We called them to not make the playoffs. 0-2 start sounds pretty good about that, but some of these sack numbers are just absolutely horrible to what it's going to turn into.
They're on pace to give up 111 sacks this season. ungodly amount. And unfortunately, I don't think that'll be Joe Burrow that takes all of those sacks if this keeps up.
Well, that's the unfortunate part. And I'm about to unleash Parker here in just a second, because I think right now it's pretty obvious that changes have to be made schematically. Can this coaching staff, can this head coach, is he capable of pulling the ripcord here?
No, he's an idiot. He's the worst coach in the league. I've been saying it for 2 years. I'm going to keep on saying it. I don't know if you know this, but Joe Burrow started with a torn ACL and MCL, and unless they keep this up, it's going to happen again. I, sitting in my man cave, can tell you the best thing for quarterbacks are to run motion and run play action. Guess what the Bengals are bottom 5 at doing? Running motion and running play action. They're at 6% less than they were last year. And if you can go quote Zach Taylor after the loss last week against the Cowboys, I am not making this up. Quote, I think we've given up too many sacks. End quote. Thanks, Zach. And if you don't want to believe a guy talking from his man cave about how much Zach Taylor sucks, let's listen to his players. Jamar Chase, one of the best young receivers in the league. Quote, I feel like we need, this is after the Dallas game. Quote, I feel like we need to make more adjustments in the game. Everybody knows what we're going to do now, so everyone knows what to expect when we play them. We just got to learn how to adjust on the fly. That is from a star receiver after the game calling their coach out. I mean, it's just not good.
I love as a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, I love it because what I hear from afar is I hear a young wide receiver that's starting to get a little unhappy.
Yeah.
He's looking down into Florida. Nice weather. They have a quarterback on the come up in Trevor Lawrence. He's like, you know what? They got a coach. They got a quarterback that's just as good as Joe Burrow. I'm just saying, it's nicer down there. I don't have to pay Ohio taxes. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Jamar. Let's go.
Man.
Let's do it.
He says, come on down south.
I mean, I'm sure we can trick the Bengals into a 6th and 7th round pick. Let's do it.
Hey, you throw Carson Wentz in there, you might get a 1st or 2nd round pick if you kind of get a 3-way trade going on.
And it's not just the sacks. It's more than that. He's also, in addition to that, taken 7 hits, been pressured 34 times. And last year we think about, oh my God, how many times did he get sacked? He got sacked 8.9% of the time on a drop back. This year, he's at 12.7. I mean,
so much for revamping the O-line.
Yeah, that's not a good number there. It's not a good trend there. I know we've had some folks down in the comments that have had some things to say about that O-line, that rebuilt O-line. I'd love to hear what your comments are now, if you still feel as confident as you did back then, whenever we put the preview show out. Not really sure it's really working out for you. I don't know. Where do they go from here? That's my big question.
They play the Jets, and they hopefully don't lose to 47-year-old Joe Flacco that they're only 4-point favorites against.
I mean, the public is – the last thing they saw with the Jets is a huge comeback from the other Ohio team, the Cleveland Brownies, Brownie the Elf.
Oh,
they're too busy celebrating his life instead of winning a football game when you're up by 2 scores with 1.5 minutes to go.
The greatest thing ever about that loss, y'all, was during those 2 minutes that were left, they're up by 13. They are playing montages about what was going on the last time the Browns started 2-0. Jurassic Park was in the theater. Gas was 94 cents. This was playing in the stadium when they were up with 2 minutes to go. And then it just couldn't happen to a better franchise. The last team, by the way, to give up a lead like that with 13 points with less than 2 minutes to go, because there's been, I think, 2,600 consecutive games where that hasn't happened. 2001, Cleveland Browns.
Can't go a day without it. The old Parker Powerbomb. Oh, Lord. I don't know.
Deshaun Watson.
I mean,
save the day.
I mean, look. The state of Ohio is doing the state of Ohio things. I talked a lot of shit last year about the state of Ohio, and Joe Burrow and the Bengals came up and just shoved. And
they did.
Look, I am a huge Joe Burrow fan, but it seems like they're back up to their old tricks. both the Bengals and the Brownies.
So my answer is the Bengals have always been the Bungles. So I'm kind of torn on which side I stand here. I mean, the Bengals are the Bungles. They just kind of played unbungle like last year.
Yeah. Well, here's my take. It's still early. It's very
definitely early.
They still have a lot of firepower on the offense side of things. But if they don't figure out this offensive line, it's not going to matter. I'm not ready to call them the Bungles yet, but I can tell you I'm a couple more games of this, and it's just going to start to be a downward spiral, and I fear for Joe Burrow's safety.
Do you think Burrow and Chase have any success against the rookie corner this week?
He hasn't looked bad, though, right? So Sauce has not been terrible. They gave up his first touchdown, but they should have success against him. I mean, he's a rookie after all. But the bigger question is that Jets defensive line is not terrible. Last week, Burrow was pressured on like 35% of dropbacks, and he was the 7th fastest quarterback to throw the ball in the league. They've got to figure something out about the offense. They've got to start doing something more than just dropping back and letting him get hit. I don't know the answer. I think they rebound this week. I think this is probably the week they actually do. But, man, when we pick every game, I'll tell you right now, I didn't pick Cincinnati because I'm not going to do it. Not till I see it.
Oh, look at him. He's ready to pick. I'm down for it. You ready to hit the button? We'll go to our college pick 6 if we're ready. We have a better lineup this week in college.
Oh, God.
College football was horrible.
I mean, it was like cotton candy all over the place.
I mean, we have our very first game on the docket is the big time SEC East tone setter.
Yep.
Florida first road game. They're going to Knoxville and the UT Vols. If you like the Vols, you have to lay 10.5 points to the Gators. What do you think?
Well, I am what they refer to as a battered Vol. I have battered Vol syndrome. I've lived through a lot of the really good times with Tennessee and a lot of the heyday of this rivalry back when it was number 2 versus number 4, where it was number 4 versus number 6 and number 1 versus number 4 and all this other stuff. The whole Spurrier thing, feels like 98, all that stuff. And then, enter the train wreck that was the Tennessee coaching carousel there for a while. Lived through all that. There's been plenty of times when Tennessee was probably better on paper than Florida. There's been probably a lot more times where Florida had the way better lineup. But we as in Tennessee has always found a way to lose the game. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I really don't. I want to be a homer. And take this. I think I'm going to go ahead and take it. UT, give it to me. 10.5.
Parker.
I've got some weird things about this one because I just got crazy, went down the rabbit hole. But over the last 50 years, Tennessee has never been favored by more than 7 points against the Gators. Ever.
Wow.
In fact, 2 of the last 3 times that Tennessee and Florida have played, Tennessee was the higher ranked team. And for historical perspective on this about Florida being being underdogs by double digits, the last 20 years against Florida, it's only happened 14 times. And those have been against Alabama, Georgia, and LSU. Tennessee is not one of those until now. I don't know what to think about this game. I've gone all over it. This is Florida's first trip away from home. There's a massive thing out there about, we said at the beginning of this year, it all depends on Anthony Richardson, right? Like, this team will go how Anthony Richardson goes. And right now, they're going as how he's going. And it is absolutely terrible.
Touchdown passes. Nothing.
0. Nothing. He is one of 4 quarterbacks in the country to not have a touchdown pass. And you know who one of those is? USF's quarterback from last week. And the other ones are like, Southeastern New Mexico, just all terrible, terrible people. So I don't know what to do with this. Richardson's so bad, more than 30% of his passes have been uncatchable. 30% uncatchable right there. You're starting off with that. And over 12% of them have been interceptable. I don't know. Florida was outgained by South Florida by 70 yards. They should have lost that game. Kentucky and Utah, they basically were even. I could go on and on about this one, Bradley. I'm on the fence.
I mean, the reality is almost in every category, Tennessee appears on paper to have the advantage, which makes me as a battered Vol nervous. It really does.
They do. And then I started looking into it. Florida's more tested than Tennessee. At least
100%. I told Bradley that the other day.
Yeah. They played a
Utah.
They played Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, but
you've had Pitt.
Yeah,
on the road.
And that jumps me to our so Tillman, our injury status. So he's not playing this week. I don't think he's playing this week. And in that game, he was targeted 18 times. Like, this is a massive loss. We're talking one of the top 5 receivers in the country, like a first round kind of guy. And I think it's just an absolutely huge loss. So we've got him out. You've got the running backs hurt. I yet again keep going back to this. I don't really know what to do about this, but there is something interesting because I'm sure as a Gator fan, you've watched it. Richardson isn't running it much. And a lot of people are asking why. And Napier told us at the end of the last game, he said, I think our situation at quarterback has something to do with that, if that makes sense. And Richardson said, they tell me every week I have to be careful. I can't take big hits. I can't be Superman out there anymore. It's because they don't have a backup. If he goes down, they have nobody.
Yeah, and but on the other side, Ventrell Miller, their number one tackler from last year, their best linebacker, he's not playing. And I mean, this is a Florida team that got absolutely gashed last week in the run game. Over 300 yards on the ground they gave up against a USF team. I don't know.
Can UT run the ball like that?
They're a run-first offense. You don't believe it because you see the big numbers, but it is.
It is. They actually run the ball more than they pass the ball. That's what this game's going to have to be. I think it's going to be lower score than what you probably think it is. And I think this is going to have to be a running game for the Vols. And we need Brew McCoy to step up. Like, somebody's going to have to step up at wide receiver because Florida doesn't get pressure on you. I think on the year, Florida's got 3 sacks. This line is so high, but I do think Tennessee's strengths matches up well with Florida's weaknesses. But these injuries with Tillman, injuries at the running back, this is Florida's Super Bowl. If you don't let Richardson loose on this one to run, to throw, to do everything you possibly can, what are you waiting for? I'm taking Florida in the points.
I mean, there's no question. I'm taking Florida in the points, but disappointed to say the least in this Anthony Richardson 0 touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm.
Disappointed to hear that even if he thinks he's on this mysterious leash thing, I wish the coach and the player were on the same page. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Does it seem to you that Anthony Richardson has a confidence problem at the moment?
I mean, there's definitely a mental block in there somewhere. I don't think that the coach has told him that he's in shackles and he can't run.
Well, the problem is behind him, they don't have a healthy quarterback that has played a college game. They have an 18-year-old kid that's never played in college. Their real backup, I guess he's injured. Is that right?
If you play scared, you're going to lose.
Also,
I agree.
There's the beat reporters are out there. There's the rumors, and Florida's not talking much about this unless I've missed it. Was Richardson hurt? All the beat reporters are talking about him being hurt after the first play of the game against Kentucky, that he's just a different player since the very first play.
I don't know.
I think the game plan should be UT make him throw.
Oh, I don't think they're going to rush.
Stop the run.
Yeah.
Because if you start getting Florida and Trevor Etienne and company running wild up and down the field, I think that spells bad news. You need to make this team a passing team, and then you're going to have some turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd will be going nuts with the orange and white checkers, however they're doing the stadium. So just dictate the pace, man. Set it early. Go ahead and receive. Make it 7-0 real quick, and then you've got Anthony Richardson and the Florida offense on their toes right from the beginning.
Well, that's the thing. That's really what it comes down to is they got to, if Tennessee starts fast, if they go up a score and Florida gives up a 3 and out and they score again, is this the type of Florida team that can play from behind an offense like Tennessee's. But again, this is a different game. Tennessee has had a mental block in this game for decades.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's what, 16 of the last 17, and I don't think they could play if Tennessee goes up. I think they'll get gassed at 3.1 plays per minute. But my buzzword, regression. Richardson's going to have a Richardson game, and he's gone over 3 in Richardson games so far, right?
Very true.
There is time where he is going to have a game, and it is coming. I don't know if it's this week. I don't know if it's next week, but it is coming.
We'll see. We're going to move on to the B1G segment, the game that we've identified as Minnesota at Michigan State. The road team is favored by 2.5 points. I'll go ahead and start. This is my team that I picked to win their division. I'm going Minnesota minus 2.5 with the victory on the road.
Yeah, I see Michigan State sliding, and I don't think it stops here. I think the Golden Gophers are taking this one. Give me it.
It's the first meeting between these two head coaches and between these two programs in 5 years. I think the home team has won it the last 5 years. I'm going wrong team favored. Michigan State takes it home.
State. Now to our ACC game of the week.
And if anyone cares, it's because of the run game, but that's fine.
Minnesota runs the ball. That was a part of my name. Run, baby, run.
They do.
Clemson at Wake Forest. Clemson is a full touchdown favorite. Do you like their quarterback play?
I don't like it very much. I think
we love the defense, right?
Yeah, I refer to it as that defense. And that defense is also an offensive weapon as well sometimes. Yeah, I like Clemson in this one. I think this defense is not going to let them breathe. I think they're going to have problems throwing the ball all night long.
I'm going to give you a 1-sentence analysis to why Clemson murdered Wake Forest. And that is because Liberty owned Wake Forest's offensive line last week. Liberty! Clemson is going to absolutely feast. Last year, they gave up 6+ sacks to Clemson. This year, they're worse at protecting their quarterback. He hasn't been very mobile since his surgery. DJ hasn't faced much, so I don't really know what it's worth that he looks better. This is a shellacking. It's all about NC State, baby.
Give me Sam Hartman and the points. I'm taking Wake Forest +7.
Wow.
Give me Wake. Best bet time. I'll go ahead and start. I just went back to the B1G. I'm going to Ohio State -19. I think they blow the socks off of Wisconsin.
I'm going a little bit different here. I'm going out of my comfort zone somewhat, but at the same time, it's a little bit in our comfort zone because it's rooting against an SEC team. I'm picking Bowling Green +30.5 against Mississippi State. I think that this air raid offense is a bunch of horse shit, and I think that Mississippi State can take that cowbell and shove it. Never mind,
All right. Again, back to my favorite regression, and I am going to go with my opposite Iowa pick. This is the exact opposite team of Iowa. We are going to go to Oregon State versus USC. So far, USC, 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions, 0 turnovers. They are 10+ in the category of turnovers already. You're lucky to get that at the end of the year. And you see some of these scores, they're blowouts. Ooh, they had 3 pick sixes against Rice. That's not happening. Stanford fumbled it 2 times on the goal line. That's not happening. Fresno State lost their starting quarterback at halftime and was still able to move the ball. That's not happening. Oregon State is going to be able to run the ball, and if their quarterback can deliver, they are going to win, and they are going to beat this fraudulent USC team that might have the worst defense. Think about it. Who's there? Lincoln Riley. Where was Lincoln Riley before? Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
What was really, really bad at Oklahoma? Their defense. The regression monster bites USC. Give me Oregon State, the +6.5, and I really think that they might just pull up the upset.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Well, speaking of upsets, it's time to pick our dogs. We'll go with Parker. We'll go reverse order. What did you identify as your straight-up win for the dog?
Going back to the great state of Iowa, And Iowa State this time, I'm going to pick on Baylor to just knock off the Iowa State team. Baylor can be elite on the ground. It's kind of a strength on strength. But Iowa State they can't beat anybody by a lot. I feel like this is going to be one of those field goal games, and they're just going to lose some games because they just cannot whip anyone. So just give me the team with the better talent. I'll take Baylor. Straight up win.
Oh, man. I can't believe who I wrote down as my underdog here. I really can't. But I feel very strongly that Brian Harsin at Auburn is in trouble. And I think this trouble is going to be even further exacerbated when Missouri pulls off an upset in Auburn.
Mizzou.
Done. If that happens.
Oh, I know. I mean, I think it's going to happen within the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, it's done by the end of the year no matter what, but they lose that. It's done next week.
Yep.
I'm looking at an ACC football matchup, and Duke and Kansas. Give me Duke to win outright. They're a 7-point dog at Kansas. I don't know why I'm picking them, just because I want to.
Wow, that's got to spur up Parker there. I know.
I'll tell you what, though, I do like Kansas. I really do, but Duke has looked shockingly good this year. I mean, seriously.
Every time I look up at the scoreboard, I'm like, whoa.
But one of the most efficient offense in all of college football, most high scoring one, Kansas.
Yep. We'll see.
Is what it is.
That was our
again, it's Kansas.
College pick 6. Of course, all eyes around our area will be on Florida UT. It's time to hit the NFL pick 6. Hometown, Tennessee Titans. My brother's team is in town, the Las Vegas Raiders. They're talking about a team that Bungles and Bengals. I mean, we got another 0-2 team right here at home, Blake.
Yeah, after, there are a lot of people, some people on the show even, who are ready to absolutely burn it to the ground. I may or may not be that person. I'm still kind of letting things settle. But ultimately, I came to the conclusion that we might have played against the Super Bowl champs this past week. But at the same time, you don't generally see blowouts by the third quarter in the NFL where you pull your freaking starting quarterback. You got two red-ass teams playing here. Vegas had to travel a long way. I think this is going to be a close game. Give me the Titans and the points. I don't know that they'll win. I want the points.
I hate myself. Whenever we try to do these picks, the number one thing I look up is matchups. And the matchups in this are horrendous. I mean, horrendous for the Titans. Everyone struggles with Devontae Adams, but the Titans are traditionally horrible with the number one, C. Stephon Diggs, and Adams might be the number one guy in the entire league. On top of that, the offensive line is hurt, and the Raiders have Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. And if anyone remembers the last time Chandler Jones came to Nashville was last year as a Cardinal when the Titans gave him tens of millions of dollars when he had 5 sacks.
5 sacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
He left with more sacks than it feels at Kroger.
Tennessee got him paid. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and the Raiders on top of that have a good run defense. Titans O-line hasn't been able to block. On top of that, Todd Downing is literally a bottom 3 play caller in the NFL. Shouts out Bengals head coach. And
in college too, I think. And in high school, I think.
I was talking to a buddy, and his argument for firing Todd Downing is genius. All his is, if you fire Todd Downing, who hires him? What job does he get? And my answer to him was nothing. He does. Does anyone hire him?
Goes away.
He just disappears silently into the night. Like
he's an analyst for Nick Saban.
Yes, he really is.
Yeah.
Both teams have a lot of injuries. I just think the Titans have more impactful injuries. The one thing I will say, Titans fans, is to not freak out. Even if you lose this game, you're probably down in the division still by 1 game. Raiders fans lose this, and you're done. The way the Titans win this game, and I don't know if they can do it with its offensive line, but as Vrabel says on his hat, on his mask, run the damn ball. This is the only way to be able to keep from getting sacked a million times. and put pressure on Carr. He's a different quarterback when he gets pressure on him. Those are the only ways you're going to win this. However, am taking the Raiders to win this game. In fact, I think they might win this by like double digits.
So Parker is picking against both the Tennessee Titans and the UT Vols this week. So here's my thing. I mean, the offensive line is putrid. I've said it from the prediction show. You've got no cornerbacks. I didn't say anything about safeties. I said cornerbacks. Devontae Adams has got to be licking his chops, man. After seeing Diggs did whatever he wanted. I agree with those that say, look, the Titans are just slow.
That was my comment.
Include the quarterback in that, include Derrick Henry in that. They just don't have enough NFL speed on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I text both of you right away whenever they pulled Tannehill, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Say it.
Is it the
Do it.
Is it the Malik era starting now? He's the fastest.
He said it.
He's the fastest athlete that you may have on the roster.
Tanny is not the problem with this team. He really isn't. He's probably the best. He's probably played better than anybody on this team has.
So I agree with you, but he doesn't have the tools to be able to cover up
the offensive line,
the deficiencies.
It was 3rd and 1 4 times during that Buffalo game, and they ran a pitch 6 yards in the backfield. I don't care who you have. There is no hope. I don't care if you've got freaking Peyton Manning at quarterback at 3rd and 1 when they pitch it 6 yards in the backfield, when Von Miller is owning everything on that team. It's play calling. You run that tight end sweep play is one of the worst plays in NFL this year. This is on Todd Downing. This is on Todd Downing 100%. He's not putting players in a position to win. They're to have no shot. No shot.
I think the combination of the two is detrimental. I think it's ignorant, personally, to be putting Malik out there before I think he's ready. I think you're running a risk of him getting hurt behind this offensive line. And I think because the thing is what you're wanting to find out this year is Tannehill the guy moving forward? And he either is or isn't. You need to put him out there and figure it out.
I think the Titans have already answered it.
Well,
I don't think we know.
I mean, nobody. But my point about Malik, in that he covers some of this stuff up, it doesn't mean that it's the right call. It just means that on some of those where Tannehill's getting sacked, maybe he would get away. But I don't think that really has that much of an impact in the game as far as them winning.
We can break this down further, but one last, I was literally talking to somebody about this today, and I said, I wish it was Tannehill. That's an easy decision. That's okay. Let's swap him out. We don't even.
This is worse. Yeah, this is worse.
Yes, it's worse. No, there's not an answer.
It's at least 5 guys right now. At least the 5.
I'm looking out on the field. They've got out there. They have out wide. You'll have one receiver numerous times. It's Cody Hollister.
Yeah,
it's not Hooper.
I don't get it.
It's nobody. It's Cody Hollister. It could be anybody. It could be NWI is better than Cody Hollister. I'm saying Robert Woods is over on the sideline. Burks is on the sideline. NWI is on the sideline. Hooper is on the sideline, and they're putting out Cody Hollister. The player packages make 0 sense for this guy.
And sometimes we see Derrick Henry on the sideline on non-third down plays.
I don't get it. I don't get any of the packages. I think that the route schemes are uninspired, to say the least. And I don't know about y'all, but I read the body language of a lot of these players, and I just see Tannehill like he's coming out there, and I can just tell he thinks that the play he's about to run is not going to work. I mean, when you're running plays that have there's 0 receivers that are trying to go vertical and stretch the field. Everybody's packed in tight. There's no way that they're getting any separation. I don't understand it. Todd Downing is a huge part of the problem, but we've got a lot of problems right now.
I think a team that has a lot of problems are the Las Vegas Raiders. Back-to-back roadies. They just had a win snatched away from them in overtime against Kyler Murray. I think the Raiders may be down here. I'm going Tennessee 24-23. Give me the Titans.
Okay.
By the way, I know if people have already probably seen this, but Thursday Night Football is on right now. Go look up the catch George Pickens just made, because it's an Odell Beckham style catch from the Giants a few years back.
Nice.
Boom. Help my parlay.
Nice.
We're going to go out to California next. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Excuse me. The first place Jacksonville Jaguars at the Los Angeles Chargers. Go Chargers. If you want the Chargers, you have to give the full touchdown. 7 points. I think that this line would have been closer to 10 if we had a healthy Herbert. It probably drops to 3 if Herbert decides he don't want to play against the Jags this week. Jags have no business winning this game. That they're no good going out West Park.
No, and they don't match up well. This Chargers defense is awesome. They really are. And I think if the Jags lost to Indy last week and Chargers won the game they should have won, this could have been like a 16-point line. And I do think he's going to play, though. The beat reporters sound that
I think he's going to play.
It sounds like he's going to be like 70%, that they're going to try to do a bunch of check downs and a bunch of runs and stuff like that. But, guys, I just got to tell you, there is somebody on the Chargers that I want to be, and that is the quarterback backup there, and that is Chase Daniels. Chase Daniel. Let me just tell you a little bit about Chase Daniel before I make my pick here, because it's just amazing. He has been in the league for 13 years. He has been in 71 games. He has only had to start 5 times. He's attempted 261 passes, and he has made $41.8 million. That's $8.2 million a start. Horrible matchup. I don't care if Daniel plays or not. Chargers roll.
Yeah, I've got the Chargers here. I think that we're operating under the assumption that Herbert's going to play and play most of the game. I'm with Parker. I don't care if Daniel's in there or not. Give me the Chargers.
I don't know that it's necessarily a horrible matchup, because I'm just now getting my real first look at Trevor Lawrence. I'm getting my first real look at Travis Etienne. I'm getting my first real look at an NFL style play with an adult as the head coach and Doug Peterson. Just 7 scares me, man. I don't think the Jags win, but I'm a sucker. I'm going to take the points. I'll take Jacksonville in the points, but because it could be they're down by 15 with a minute to go and they score a touchdown and throw a 2-point convert for no reason. I don't think the Jags can win, but take the coverage.
Gotcha.
It is a lot of points.
Kansas City makes a trip to the Indianapolis Colts, whom the Jacksonville Jaguars just embarrassed. They didn't score 1 damn point, Blake.
Didn't they pronounce a certain day to be Indianapolis Colts Day or something like that down there in Jacksonville?
They did. They've named it every time the Colts come down to Jacksonville. The mayor has pronounced it's Colts Day, annual Colts Day right here in Duuuval.
Taking shots.
Because only happy things can happen on Colts Day in Jacksonville.
Apparently
they're not winning down there, Parker.
Apparently.
No, they can't. I mean, you'd like to think the NFL, the professional teams, like these trends mean nothing, but at some point it means something.
Oh, yeah. The longer it goes on, the more it means at this point.
So let's see here. Their offensive line's not quite as bad as Tennessee, but they're pretty bad. They had injuries last week. I believe Pittman should be back. I don't know if their linebacker, whatever his name, whatever he wants to call himself this week, Shaq Leonard, are you going to finally play an NFL game this week, bud? Dude, there's no reason for me to take the Colts. I'm going to, especially with it being under the. What do you got? What do you got?
Before you pick, let me overanalyze the crap out of this, which is what I'm good at doing, and see if I can change your mind.
It's their opening home game. Yeah.
I'm going to go more than that.
That crowd noise that they pump in there.
So Pittman's going to be back. Pierce is going to be back. They're talking Shaq Leonard might be back, but I don't believe it. If he is, he's going to be a shell of himself. And Gus Bradley's the defensive coordinator for Indy. He's going to be a problem. Last year, he was the defensive coordinator for the Raiders.
No problem. The Jags just carved his ass up.
No, a problem for Indy, not for.
I thought you were like a problem for the.
No, because he was the defensive coordinator for the Raiders last year. If you go back and listen to our Raiders Chiefs previews pod, I laid out how the only defensive coordinator that wouldn't change how to play against Mahomes, because you got to play a certain defense. The only one to not do it, Gus Bradley for the Raiders, and they lost a combined 89-23 in those 2 games. But I stand here to say that defense didn't work because of Tyreek. Tyreek broke that. So I think whatever he does might be successful here. And I'm also going to say, I'm not going to say they're fraudulent, but I'm going to tell you KC is not the team that you think they are. They are 2-0. And I've watched every single snap. They beat an Arizona team that basically had everyone hurt on defense and blitzed Patrick Mahomes at like 52%. And you know what you don't do it, but Patrick Mahomes, is you don't blitz him that much. And last week, Bradley, I know you watched it. We text them about it. The Chargers should have straight up won that game by double digits. Mahomes threw 3 interceptions that weren't interceptions, and Herbert threw a pick 6 in the end zone to come all the way back for his 1. I hope I'm wrong, and I hate myself for this pick. But I'm just telling you, KC's not as good as they are. Indy's back's against the wall. Indy and maybe a straight up win.
Well, there's no way I'm picking it. I just watched Indy from post to post. I've watched every single play. They're pretty bad. I mean, I picked them to win the AFC South. But are they bad because of scheme? We've talked about that with the hometown Titans. Are they bad because they were just missing a few players?
They're like the Titans were when you're missing the best player. Like Pittman is so important to that team. They have no chance at winning without him.
And I kind of agree. I think that Leonard, it wouldn't have mattered. If Leonard was playing, they still get beaten Duuuval. Secondary would have had to figure some more things out. I mean, that is if that O-line could have given the old man Matt Ryan any time. He's not moving. He can't move.
No, he's bad.
And our young, what do we have? Like 9 linebackers. we were sending them, and we didn't even really have to stunt that much because their offensive line's pretty bad. I'm going Kansas City -5.5.
I agree with Bradley. I don't think I could ever pick the Colts here. I think that the Colts are going to continue to do their downward spiral, and I hope it continues for the next 8 years.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But if they do get blown out here, it's starting to become a real conversation of, is Frank Wright and Chris Ballard looking for jobs in a couple of weeks if it's a blowout?
Hey, maybe we talk about it next week.
Maybe that's something we talk about before next week. We'll
San
see.
Francisco at Denver. The away team is a favorite. If you want San Francisco, you have to give the home team 2 points. Parker, I'm coming to you first because you and I have gone back and forth with this Trey Lance thing.
I don't know what to do with this team. I don't know what either one of these teams are. Like
San
Denver,
Francisco better with Jimmy G?
I don't know.
The lines say he is.
But we never saw San Francisco with Jimmy G. We saw him in a monsoon, and we saw him for like 5 minutes in the game.
Never saw.
I'm sorry, with Trey Lance. So I don't know. Like that's the legit answer of it. And Denver looks bad with Russell Wilson. There's even a report out there.
I hate the coach.
He's terrible.
Hackett.
Well, there's his old receivers in Seattle are coming out saying that he's using the exact same hand signals to his receivers about what to do, and they could read what he wanted to do. I don't know. I'm honestly just going to take the home field advantage and the points and hope that this offense figures out something with Russ. Give me Denver. I'm picking this one because this is one of the games we have to, but I feel zero confidence in this.
I'm kind of the same way. I see 2 teams that just don't know who they are. And the only thing I have to go with is home field advantage here, and thinking that at some point Russ is going to figure it out and just take over at home.
Unbelievable. This is like one of the few times we all pick the same thing. I've got Denver in an upset victory, home team. The Kittle injury is bugging me. I don't know why he can't get back on the field. I think that San Fran now with Jimmy G, their identity should be play great defense and run the rock. But that component of Deebo Samuel running the rock a little bit, quick passing game off a play action to Deebo and Brandon Ayuk, I'm missing Kittle. I don't know if this is something I should be worried about long term with him.
It sounds like he might play, but I do think this is an Ayuk game. But you're talking about their running backs, and you're right. But the 49ers, somehow, every single year, they've already got 2 running backs hurt, and they're down to Jeff Wilson, who is notoriously gets hurt all the time.
It's best bet time where we pick a team that any team favorite underdog at the top of the show. I'm talking about Bengals, Bungles, and I'm going with it, Parker. I'm going the Cincinnati Bengals. Pick on the New York Jets and get right. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals -6.
Yeah, I'm going with the Vikings -6 over Detroit. I think that Detroit is much improved this year, but I do believe that the Vikings, there's something special. I think that they've got a lot of firepower here, and I think that, quite honestly, they mop the floor with Detroit.
I had something written down here about Tampa Bay Green Bay game, so if one of y'all picked it next, I got a fun stat for you. But I switched when I saw Herbert's probably going to play, and I want to take the Jags Chargers under 47.5. The Jags are not going to be able to score on this team, and the Chargers are going to take the air out of the ball and run this and run this and run this some more and just try to get out of this game with Herbert uninjured. This game is going to go. I mean, I don't think it's anywhere near that.
I think that's a really good pick, actually.
Under 47.
That's really good. Y'all write that down out there.
All right. Upset time where we try to identify an underdog to win outright. I did go there. I went with Parker's favorite, Aaron Rodgers. It needs to be very similar to what we saw last week. Not Aaron Rodgers, but the other Aaron. It needs to be Aaron Jones. It needs to be Dylan. Run the rock, short passing game. I think Tampa's got a little distraction going with old supposed to be retired Bruce Arians. Give me Green Bay in the upset.
Okay.
They do. I will tell you, they've played 4 times. Tampa Tom and Aaron. Your boy Aaron's 1-3.
Nice.
I'll let the other Aaron play. Let's go.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones.
All right, what we got left? Dogs? We got doing our dogs here.
Oh, I can go for you.
Go for it.
All right, I am going to back a former favorite Titan for some reason that people are still in love with, Marcus Mariota in Atlanta to beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks are awful. Atlanta has been feisty. Drake London's good. Kyle Pitts has done jack. He's going to actually do something this week. It's a perfect matchup. The only thing good that Seahawks have are their wide receivers. The only thing good that Atlanta's got on defense are their cornerbacks. Give me Atlanta to go to 12 and win.
My only thing there is they stayed out on the West Coast all week. I think the players are grumpy. I think they're just ready to get home. They mail it in. Seattle wins by more than the point spread.
All right. Well, I'm going with Houston over the Bears. It took me a long time to come to that.
Hold on, let me get my trash can.
I mean, so these are 2 trash teams playing. I just happen to think that the Bears are more trash. Yeah, I think this is. I think the Texans go into Chicago and get the job done.
Anybody like Justin Fields?
No, I don't.
I don't know, man. Like who's he's got Mooney and David Montgomery and a terrible coach. I like him in probably a different team.
Same,
but he's gonna be one of Equanimous, but he's gonna be one of those guys that goes. He's one of those quarterbacks that's gonna do a crap team and flame out because we're just never gonna know.
I hope they're playing on better grass this week.
Yeah, right.
I've got the Bears defense in fantasy football this week.
All right.
I was gonna one stat I wanted to get out there that how we sat there and watched Buffalo. Von Miller, by the way, y'all, looks rejuvenated. That guy I thought would mail it in at the beginning of the year. He's incredible. Right now, though, the Bills lead the league in quarterback pressure rate. They have only blitzed 3 times.
That's unreal. That defense is good.
Whenever you get to play with the lead, you get to let your defensive line play, and I got to see some of that in Duuuval, man. The Jaguars go up 14-0 early, and then old man Matt Ryan, he's forced to go away from Jonathan Taylor,
mm-hmm.
He's a sitting duck, man. So
Yeah.
Buffalo gets up on more teams than anybody, it seems like.
Yep.
So they get to let their pass rushers play.
You're absolutely right, because they're going the way to beat them is kind of like how I'm trying to say beat the Raiders this week, is to run it, because they are not trying to stop the run. Von Miller is coming to rip your quarterback's head off.
Yeah.
Tua, good luck this week, bud, because I don't believe the Dolphins have a running game.
I don't know.
None of us picked that one.
Yeah,
We stayed away.
Staying away from that one. Well, guys, we appreciate you joining us tonight on our weekly show. We need you to go ahead and go down below. Do us a favor. It's quick. It's free. It's easy. Hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. Hit the Rumble button on Rumble. Catch us on all of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter at DDS Sportstalk. And you can download all the audio podcasts on the go at your favorite podcasting platform. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
Jets, Jets. Goodbye, Bungles. Goodbye.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to go to the other team in Ohio. When the Browns blew a 13-point lead in the final 1 minute and 22 seconds, listen to this stat. In NFL teams had won previously 2,229 consecutive games when leading by at least 13 points in the final 2 minutes. And thanks to Brownie the Elf and the Brownies, that streak's over.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go a little different route, and let me get the microphone nice and close here. Onions and taters. Tennessee Maters. To hell with them Gators. Vols by 50. And as always, it is two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.